Yo, Ginger Red here. There are many different ways that you can die. Some are pretty cool, some are pretty terrible. It also depends on whether you want to die or not. I'm just gonna rank them all from like the worst to the best. There are probably not all the ways to die here, to be honest, but let's check it out. So starting off, we have a bee swarm, being attacked by a bunch of bees and then dying. I'm thinking. Honestly, I'm thinking this has to probably go in the top, because imagine the amount of pain. But I don't really. I think they release some kind of a poison of some sort into your system, and that's what you die off. It's not the. It's certainly not the pain, but the pain is just accompanying it. It would be pretty awful. A pretty awful way to die, I think. Let's take the electric chair. I think the electric chair is probably in the middle. I would say it's probably not that fun. The worst part is certainly before it happens, where you just have to sit there, you can't move, and you have to just wait until you get just hit with a bolt of electricity. It's like 1 billion volts, and you're just gonna die. Sometimes it doesn't even work. Sometimes you just stay alive, and then they have to like turn it on again. Hopefully that wouldn't happen. I would say, yeah, it probably sucks, to be honest. I'm not gonna put it at not the worst. It isn't, but yeah, I would say for now, I don't think it's painless, I think there's probably a lot of pain. It's like, imagine, when you hit, like when you touch like a fence with a bunch of electricity, that's quite painful. Now imagine that amount of electricity is so much that you eventually die, but it doesn't happen immediately. Next up is the guillotine. The worst part here is definitely, by far the worst part is like before it happens, you have to just look up, and you can just see that kind of like, like extremely sharp object, and you just eventually it's just gonna hit your head. It's gonna fall down with a massive amount of speed and just hit you and just cut your head off. Sounds pretty awful, but the pain itself is probably it probably couldn't even really be any better. The physical pain. You're not going to have much physical pain because you're going to be beheaded like immediately. I'll put it at not the worst for now. So crucifixion with an X. I would say, Jesus was crucified. And if he could do it, I'm thinking that everybody else could, kind of. Because he did it on purpose. He was just like, yo, I want this. But I still think that this would be kind of painful though. If you're crucified, if you're a Christian, it's probably fine because you're gonna be like, yo, it's like what Jesus did and stuff. I still think, you have to stay there for that amount of time. It's like that, like seams in your hands, and it's gonna, then you just eventually die of like starvation or thirst. Even just thinking about it, yeah, because of the amount of time it takes, it's probably at the absolute worst, to be honest. Because of the amount of time that it takes, I would say. So how about being boiled alive? I would say it's pretty terrible. I don't know how long that actually takes to die off, though. Because, it depends on how long it takes. Does it take, like, 5 seconds? Or are you gonna stay alive? I don't think you're gonna stay alive for much longer. The pain must be quite immense, though. I'm gonna put it at pretty bad because I think it's fast. But you're essentially melting. Like, you're melting extremely fast. I think that sounds quite awful. Let's take snake bite, or like spider bite. Not very fun. Probably takes a while. But you know what? It's probably not the worst, but it probably still sucks. So I'm gonna put it here. It must take because it would bite your, like the venom would go into your muscle, right? Your muscle, and that probably takes like 30 minutes to an hour, but I'm not sure. But that's quite a long time. I don't think the pain is as bad as some of the others. How about being in a car crash? It goes pretty fast, you go out with a bunch of adrenaline in your system, like it could be worse. I don't think it's chill though. I don't think it's chill. I'm gonna put it at not the worst actually. And maybe you're gonna get on the news too. How about substance poisoning? So this one right here is kind of chill. It depends on the kind of substance, let's be real, but yeah, to be honest, like no disrespect, like, but maybe that's not the worst way, you know? Maybe that's not the worst way to just chill. Maybe that's not the worst way. So it's probably the chosen one of all of these, I would say. So starving, I think, would be bad, especially because of how long it takes. But I think eventually you're just gonna like go crazy, start to hallucinate. So it would be pretty bad. It's kind of like crucifixion, but it's just a little less pain because you can actually move now at this point. You actually have more freedom. But I mean, it doesn't say thirst. So I mean, I'm assuming that you can still drink water and stuff. How about choking? Not very fun. Probably terrifying. It takes like 2 minutes or something. I don't think the pain is the worst though. In fact, I think you get kind of like dopamine release or something when you get choked. I'm not completely sure though. I don't think it's the worst. I'll put it at not the worst. Bleeding out, this would be one of my worst fears. Because I'm not afraid of blood, but I'm afraid of bleeding. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see the blood like come out of my body. I don't want to see that. So I'm gonna put it at pretty bad. You know, you just have to sit like lie there and just look at your blood, like liters of blood just coming out of your body until you lose all energy and you just die. I don't think this would be my choice. How about falling? So this is kind of the same as in the car crash. The worst part about this is the embarrassment. You fall, and you die then, because I mean, that's pretty dumb. How can you fall and die unless you're falling down? That's probably what they mean, right? You're falling down from somewhere which is like quite far up, and you're hitting the ground with your head or something, and you just die immediately. I think about it like the car crash. I mean, at least you get a nice adrenaline rush to die on. Being hit by a train, that's immediate. You don't. It depends on how you get hit. I assume, but if you just get hit, immediate, immediate collision, your head just hits the train. You're not gonna notice anything at all. It's just immediate. You're not even gonna know what happens. I mean, I'm just curious why you would even, stand there. But I mean, if you don't know the train is coming, you're gonna be fine. You're just gonna die. You're not even gonna know it. So being hit by a car is kind of the same. Although I think I might be wrong here. It still takes a little longer, because if you get hit by a car, in most cases you would die from hitting the ground, whereas being hit by a train, you would die from being hit by the train. Is what I'm thinking, because the train goes so fast, and because of the way it's built, it's very straight. And with a car, you just get hit, and then you get thrown up in the air, and then you die when you hit the ground. So I would say it's not the worst. It's really not too bad. It's probably slightly worse than being in a car crash. Degenerative illness. Well, I mean, look, at least you know that it's happening, but you just get to see yourself just being destroyed, you just get to see yourself just dying, just becoming weaker and weaker and weaker, and then you just know you're gonna die. Sounds pretty terrible. I'm gonna say no thank you to that one. I would much rather, I wouldn't the top ones here, but I'd much rather any of these from sucks to down. I would much rather those. How about explosion? Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I would take it. It's an explosion. It just explodes and you die. You just die. You don't even know what's gonna happen. I would say, yeah, because you don't know what's gonna happen. Then and plus, if you're in a war, you're a freedom fighter. You're in a war that's actually good. You're fighting against a terrorist or something, and you die from an explosion. Yeah, it's pretty cool. How about being shot? I would say being shot is a cool way to die. I don't want to be shot, but I'm just saying if I had to die, I think it would be pretty cool to be shot with a pistol or something. Because it's if you get shot, you're just a cool guy. I mean, unless you're just a random guy who's a passerby and you just get shot by some random crazy lunatic. But basically, it just happens immediately. Granted, it's going to be a headshot, obviously. So burning, I would say burning is definitely the absolute worst. I mean, imagine burning alive. It's like being boiled alive, but I think it's slower. I think it's slower than being boiled alive. I think it's probably less hot in a way. I'm not sure though, but I think it takes longer. And you can, I mean, the amount of pain. Imagine the amount of pain, and you just look at your body, and eventually you're just gonna melt. And you're just gonna see your skin being destroyed. You can like see your bone and stuff. Definitely the absolute worst. Definitely up there. How about drowning? Drowning would be. I'm kind of scared of experiencing that, but at the same time, I've heard it's kind of chill. But I mean, I wouldn't put it here because I think it's only chill when you already are dying. Like beforehand, like before it happens, I would say that's one of the worst. But apparently when it happens, it's just like kind of chill for some reason. I don't know why though. I mean, I don't know who said that, to be honest, because they would have to have died and then been brought back to life or something. So maybe it was just somebody who made it up. I don't know. How about being hanged? Can you say that? Being hung? I don't know, but it's always been strange. Like this is like people's chosen. I don't think this is a very good. I mean, it's definitely not cool. I just don't think this is a very good way because. Okay, I don't think it happens immediately. I might be wrong though. I might be wrong there. I think you're still alive for quite a while. And imagine the fear like before it happens. That's basically the same fear as with the guillotine. How about in space? So that depends on kind of I don't know what this means. I mean, are you in space and you're dying because of the cold and because you can't breathe? Or are you in space with that suit with that guy has on, and you're just floating around in space dying? That's I understand that dying of thirst and stuff would be pretty terrible, but I think if you're in space and experiencing that, it would be so surreal that you would almost like not think about it. It would be like a dream. I'm not even sure how that would feel. It would kind of be like a dream in a way, like it's not even real. That's why I would probably put this at like pretty chill. Animal attack is pretty awful, I think. Depends on the kind of animal. I mean, yeah, you get. I mean, I know you get like an adrenaline rush, but this is more like a survival adrenaline rush, not the adrenaline rush like with the car crash, or the falling. Like when you're on a roller coaster. Animal attack, I would say that sucks. That probably sucks quite a bit. Definitely right in the middle here. I mean, sometimes they eat you alive. I mean, that's just much worse. Like what? It depends on the kind of animal that's eating you. I mean, is it a whale? I mean, a whale, yeah, I could accept being eaten by a whale because that would probably go fast. A lion, though, that's kind of different. So lack of oxygen. So lack of oxygen, I might put this at pretty chill because I think it's actually quite painless. But I'm not completely sure though, I have to say. I mean, I'm thinking the difference between this and drowning, for example, is I think it's just like the mental feeling of it, even though it's technically the same situation. Although I will say it depends on the circumstances. I just think that there's not the amount of pain here, but it depends on how you're experiencing the lack of oxygen. I mean, are you breathing in helium, for example? Because if you're breathing in helium, then that you're just gonna breathe and you're not even gonna notice what's gonna happen, and you're just gonna die. I mean, of course, if you just you can't breathe at all, that's different. But I don't know. I'll put this at pretty chill for now, I think. How about heart attack? That's also down at the bottom, and that's actually no, that's not the worst, because basically that doesn't happen immediately. I still think you can feel pain in your chest. I don't think it just happens immediately. You can feel pain in your chest, I think. And I think actually it can take. I think it can take a while still. How about being beaten up? So even though this is kind of cool in a way, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Don't get me wrong, but I don't want to be beaten up, but still. It means somebody really hates you, like really badly. It's probably pretty painful though. You die of bruises. I mean, really many. I mean, for example, you wouldn't die of being of bleeding out, because we already have that here. So you would die of like internal bleeding or something, or like being hit in the head. Not the best, definitely not. Too many specific like areas of your body which feel painful. Like, it's not like a general pain. It's just like it's very specific areas of your body which are painful. How about radiation? I don't actually know, to be honest, how this would like forgo. I think that if you experience radiation, it might be the same as like experiencing lack of oxygen, for example, but it's not. I don't actually really know. I'm gonna put it in not the worst. And then last but not least, freezing. Sometimes people ask, would you rather freeze or would you rather burn to death? I mean, the obvious answer is you would rather freeze. It's much better than burning. Although I still think that freezing would be terrible, because there's almost nothing in the world that I hate more than freezing. Freezing is like the worst feeling. Bleeding out, yeah, I would actually put it here. That's how much I hate to freeze. Just outside. Imagine, you know those moments you're outside, it's like cold as hell, you have no glove on, and then you can't feel your fingers. Imagine that all over your body until you die. Okay, so the last one is obviously not serious. I'm not even gonna I'm not gonna rank that one. But basically, this was the list. Should I maybe let me just do this quickly. I would say probably. I would say burning is worse than bee swarm, and then it's bee swarm. There's probably crucifixion and then bee swarm, because crucifixion is so quickly. Here it would probably be boiled alive, then the degenerative illness, and then I would say the starving. Probably actually the bleeding out, and then the starving, then the freezing. Here I would say the electric chair is probably not the worst. I think, I'd rather be killed by a lion than a human. I'd say beaten up would be the worst. And then we have like an animal attack. Then we have a snake spider bite, and then we have the electric chair. Guillotine. No, guillotine is actually quite a bit here at the bottom. It's worse than, it's less bad than being hung. I would say probably drowning is the worst, and then choking, and then I would say being hung, just because of how scary that is, and then the probably then falling, then being in the car, and then being just hit by a car, and then I would say guillotine, yeah, and radiation and heart attack. I still don't know that much about the radiation. So here the worst one would probably be, I'm still not completely sure. I would say probably lack of oxygen. Still don't know exactly. Then hit by a train. Doesn't sound very fun. Then dying from an explosion, and then being shot, and then being in space, and then obviously substance poisoning, like heroin or something. So yeah, thank you for watching. Ginger Red Hair out.